my name is Lizzie. Each week I'm bringing along a different origami fold to inspire you to take some time out for your own self-care. So many of us look after others, and how to give yourself a little break from the mind, making something beautiful that will inspire you, will make you smile, and maybe even something you can share with others as well. So this week I'm really excited about this share. This is from Peter Buchanan Simmons, who has very kindly shared with me his beautiful work, Easy Springtime Origami. He's created a whole lovely collection that's so uplifting, celebrating spring, and it's a lovely mixture of traditional folds as well as folds that he's created himself, and I'll be sharing with you a couple of his folds over the coming month or so. A beautiful little bunny and one of these little chicks, and also a couple of traditional folds as well. So this is sort of a traditional fold. I have to say it's Peter being brilliant in showing how to do a flower which is really very convincing. So this iris, based on a traditional fold, but of course it's triangular, so it really does look like an iris. So if you've ever made a traditional lily, it has 4 petals, and this is an adapted lily to make an iris, and it just looks so iris-like, doesn't it? I've added actually myself a little stem and a leaf, so if that's something that you wanted to do as well, I mean, otherwise you can make a beautiful flower, but if you wanted to make the stem and the leaf, then have a look. A while back I shared how to, or you can have a look at the link below, sharing how I make lilies with a stem and then leaves as well. So it does involve glue, so those of you who like to avoid glue, then maybe not, but this is, I think, is so beautiful. So this might give you ideas as to what else you could do, but look at what I've done before with lilies, and it's the same idea there. So how to make this threefold symmetry iris out of a square. It's really curious, and I would never have believed it, because actually we're not even going to cut anything. I assumed you had to cut a triangle, and you don't. So join me in this really lovely fold, and maybe you can make yourself a bunch of gorgeous irises. So grab yourself some paper and something to press on. I'll be following Peter's diagrams for this one. So I'm going to take a piece of paper, as per usual, folding in half. Again, enjoy the concentration and the focus. Folding in half, good strong fold, and I can do a little neck, tear it off. You've done this with me before, it'll feel very familiar, but often the very familiar is a lovely thing. So I'm going to take a corner and line it up nicely. Nice pointy triangle. There we go. And I'm going to remove the rectangle. As I said, I wouldn't have believed you could do all of this without a pair of scissors to make an equilateral triangle, but you'll see it is possible. A little tiny nick there. Tear that off. That's it. So now, or if you've got origami paper, then if you do a diagonal fold, this is on the white side if you have origami paper. So we're going to make our triangle, we're going to do a little line there and a little line there. So to do that, I'm going to take this corner and match it up there, and I'm just going to press in the middle there. That's just to mark where we're going to line things up a little bit later on. So I have made a little press there, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to take this corner and match it up to that one. Again, I'm not going all the way across, just a little bit like so. So we've got these two little lines there. So to start making our triangle, we are going to take this edge and we're going to line it up so that the corner goes from up at the top and it then touches that line, but it needs to go in a nice straight line. I definitely need to do this on the surface. So I'm taking this line and going to line up this point so it touches that line starting from the top here. And this is making one of the sides of your equilateral triangle. And actually spring is very much, if you start looking at spring flowers, a lot of them are based on symmetries of 3. So there we go. So I took that top edge, that corner, and I got it to touch there, like so. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, taking that edge, taking that corner so it touches there. There we go, looking like that. And our final step to make our equilateral triangle is to take this bottom and we're going to line it up from this corner to this corner, pushing it up like so. Again, take your time, make sure it's all lined up nicely. So that concentration, which is what origami is so good at encouraging, that complete focus. There we go. So it's hopefully looking like that. That's your equilateral triangle. Now we're going to take this edge and match it up to this one. So I am taking this edge and matching it up to here. Giving it a good fold. And I'll make sure that's nice and make sure I'm happy and that's lined up well. Strong fold. Great. So having it this way up, I'm thinking this almost like the bud, the outline of a flower. I'm going to take this corner and lift it up there to match. You see, so it was down here. I'm picking it up and I'm matching up to the top there. Like so, and a good squash there. And then I'm going to open that up, and what I want is I want to tuck this one in so it goes inwards. So I am going to bring that up. So let me show you again. So it was up here, I undid that, and now I want to open this up and push it up so it will go inwards. And you'll find then it's a really nice, you can see it can become a 3-wave flower, 3-petal flower. I'm just going to make sure that I'm happy every side. Can you see? That's what it should be looking like. Great. If you've ever done the lily, don't worry if you've never done the lily, but it actually now goes along the familiar pattern, except we've got one less side, so it's actually a tiny bit quicker making this. So it's almost like 3 pages of a book here, and we're going to take one page, pop our finger in and squash it down in a straight line, and making sure that's lined up. And I know it looks a little bit more complicated in these sides, doesn't matter at all, that's how it will look. So there we go, making sure you're happy that's lined up. Great. Now again, you can turn over the page. I'm going to maybe turn around at the back at the same time, like a little turny pages. And again, you've got another pocket here. Same thing again. Popping my finger into the pocket, squashing it down, keeping it lined up, like so, and squashing it down. There we go. Lovely. And again, turning the pages over and at the back, and again I've got a pocket here, so same thing again, my finger in that little pocket and squeezing, lining it all up. There we go. So our next step is to take this top side, where there's that line there, taking this top side and lining up in the middle. So I'm afraid I need to see what I'm doing there. So it was taking that top edge and bringing it to the vertical line, like so. And the same with the other one, so taking this diagonal and bringing it up to the middle, like so. There we go. Great. And that's what we want to do with each of these sides. So I'm just turning it round, flicking through a page until you get to that horizontal line. Same thing again, outside edge to the middle. And again, it's outside to the middle. I just think it's brilliant that it's using the entire square of paper, but as a triangle. And you can see I've just got one more side. The good thing of doing this with triangle is you do have one less side to deal with. And again, same thing, this outside to the middle. Make sure it goes nicely through the tip. Great. And the same with this side to the middle. Like so. Brilliant. So our next step is to open up the sides, and we're going to take the middle and pull it forward and tuck the sides in. And what you're aiming for, rolling in the sides, is you're aiming for a little point there. And again, I find it easier with this actually than a square. Can you see a little nice little pointy triangle, and then pushing that up? And again, I'll be doing this another 2 times, so let's just turn it to the back. It's a smooth side, so let's flick through the pages till we again get to this side. So I like to think of opening a present, opening that up, pulling down the middle, tucking in the sides, and you're aiming for a nice little point at the bottom there. If it's not quite behaving, then put your finger in there, help reshape it. And again, you're aiming for a point at the bottom there. And yep, just keep playing around until it does get to a point. Hope it's working for you. So it looks something like that, and then pushing it up like so. Again, great thing is with paper, you can reposition it, and it's gone a bit more pointy now actually. That's good. Right, pushing that up. And now I've got one more page to do. Again, opening up those sides, pulling down the middle, and bringing in the sides. And keeping a nice little point and keeping that sticking up like so. That's it. Right, we've done the tricky things now. So our next step is we are going to tighten up the bottom of this. Actually, another thing I would recommend is making sure that these 3 petals are sort of separate enough. Now you'll often see, can you see one there is sort of overlapped? And if you pick that up and just make sure that it's on its own sort of page. So there I've sort of moved it around so that the 3 petals are quite free. Sometimes I find it can be tucked in like that. I'm still not quite sure why that can happen, but if it does, then I would do it at this stage. You can see they're nice and separate now. That's good. Feels much more comfortable too. So these sides have got the triangles. If you just leaf through to the smooth side, and we're going to take this bottom edge and bring it up to the vertical. And it's sort of tightening up the flower now. It's quite thick, you'll find, but this is great because it allows a real sculptural feel. This again, that bottom diagonal edge to the middle, really thick. Good exercise for those fingers. Right, so great. And the same thing, I'm going to turn now to the back, flick through until you get to a smooth side, and again it's the bottom diagonal edge to the vertical. And that's what you're doing for the 3 sides. As I said, this is quicker. That one less side, it is quicker. And quite different feeling to the lily, oddly, even though it's the same. Same thing, and the lily's where I started myself learning origami. It's not the simplest, but it is beautiful. Again, I'm moving the pages around, One last edge. Oh, it feels very thick. Again, that bottom edge bringing to the middle, which will tighten this. There we go. Now, I would recommend, if you've got a pencil or a pen, go and find it. I'm going to do that. Here we go. So just making sure everything feels nice and pointy and happy, and you can see there's 3 separate little petals there. Are we ready to maybe open up our iris now? So here goes. I'm going to grab a pencil and I'm going to take just one of these petals and I'm going to loop it over and roll it. Oops. So thick, but it's really nice because it gives it real form. I'm rolling it down to the point where it naturally goes and letting go. There we go. Next petal. And to be honest, a 3-fold symmetry is a much more realistic and good number in terms of the natural world, or 5s and 3s. These prime numbers are a little bit more interesting for the folding. It's less the square, but they're much more, I think, biological looking, and I guess, yeah, less likely to sort of split. They're quite strong structures. And there we go. You have your own, I hope, a really beautiful iris. And as I said, what you could do is roll a little stem out of length of A4 paper, just a strip, and then you'll be able to tighten it up, add a little bit of glue, trim off the very bottom of the flower, push up the stem in there. No, you can't really see it. And then a little bit of glue in there as well to be able to stick it on. And for the leaf, I just took a strip and I just folded it inwards at the top a few times, at the bottom a few times, just tightening it up and then sort of curling it a bit. And we can just look at this side, can't we? And that's really beautiful. So I hope that's worked for you. I hope that's felt like you've made a little bit of spring. Beautiful flower, and many thanks to Peter. And you can check out his book as well. It's really lovely. Thank you.